Hi, everyone. Ron Premuroso, Yaeger CPA review. And we thought it would be interesting for you to hear from us, and especially from Phil, how Yaeger CPA review began, right? How this course began. And Philip, of course, is the founder and owner and lead instructor for Yaeger. So we thought that'd be interesting to you. So I turn it over to Dr. Phil Yaeger.
Thank you, Ron. Dr. Ron, you're a doctor. Everyone's a doctor, all right? Do you do house calls?
Yes, I do, Philip. Yep,
right.
for CPA exam only.
Well, anyway, if you had listened to another one of these YouTube, you would have heard that I took a review course that went for 6 months. The guy who owned the course sat in the front of the room, smacking his lips with this microphone that looked like it was falling apart. I'll never forget that. And one thing is, he didn't explain anything. He told us, all right, equivalent finished units cost, just remember this. Add this to this and subtract that, okay? And he says, it always works. And then he would say, all right, let me show you break even. All right, this is the way you do it. Always works, all right? Well, all right, they were smart. They did break even questions, but they didn't actually fit right into the way he said to do it, all right? Because being that I didn't understand what I was doing, I couldn't take the stuff. It was a little different than what he showed us to memorize, all right, and apply it to it. So I said, this guy's terrible. And also, it was 6 months. And we went 3 nights a week and a half a day on Saturday. And you would think for 6 months, that would be enough time to present the material. But this guy, he would give us off like if there was a Monday night football game in DC, he wanted to watch the football game. So we canceled class, okay? All right, but at the end, as we're getting closer, all right, the last week or the last night of the last week, he gives us all handouts, and they're the handouts of the material that he did not cover, okay? So what did he give us? The handout on leases. Never explained it or taught it, all right? I remember it was the earnings per share. Didn't explain it. All right, I don't remember the other ones, but a lot of them. And I thought, God, what do you do with this? So I went up to him. I said, hey, Mr. S, I just can't, I didn't have this in college. So I said, I just read the handouts. They're not that important anyway, okay? So I go in and take the exam, and there's a big lease problem on there, all right? Big lease. I never had leases in college. I've been out of school 7 years. The pronouncement wasn't out. All right. I didn't know back then it was a capital lease, operating lease. This was to give them the journal entries for the capital lease. I didn't have a clue how to come up with this. They used to give you the point values. That question was a 14-point question. Okay. And also, they gave, what's the other area I said? Consolidations or trying to remember. But the other areas that he gave us the handouts, what I explained to it because he didn't have enough time, all right? They also, I remember at least one of them had a large problem. I didn't know those things because they were fairly new topics. Oh, the earnings per share. Large question on earnings per share. I didn't know earnings per share. We didn't really cover it. In fact, over the years, they changed the name, all right, to basic earnings per share and fully diluted, all right? All right. What do they call it today? Is it still basic? I'm trying to remember. Basic, right?
Basic and then just diluted.
All right. It was called fully diluted. All right.
Yep, correct.
In fact, all right, someone said to me, all right, did the guy prepare you for fully diluted? No, but I'll tell you, when I took that question, I was fully polluted. Let me tell you, that's how, so I failed the practice. I only passed business law the first time. And I should have passed auditing because back then, all right, you could go to the Board of Accountancy. They had your exam there, all right? They would give you the unofficial answers, all right? And you could see what they are compared to what it was. Well, there was one question on inventory and there were 10 responses, I remember. I got 8 out of 10 correct. And they gave me 2 points on that question, all right? And when the score came back, I had a 69 on auditing, 69. And I thought, I've been robbed. All right. I don't know who grade. By the way, I said, should I have this regraded? Yeah, you can get it regraded. All right. But I was told, like I tell people now, don't spend the money. They never change the grades. Okay. So I got a 69. I bet it was a 75 I should have had. Then I would have had 2 parts. But just passing business law was not enough. I had to take the exam again. So as I've said to you over and over again, I came out of that experience and I said, all right, I am teaching college. In fact, I took a lot of public speaking courses in college. I love those. I had 3 or 4 public speaking courses. And it taught me, how to, who to, your eye contact, just don't stand there like you're catatonic. You're looking at one person. All right. And also they told us, if people start getting tired, use certain words which wakes them up. All right. Such as in conclusion. All right. That would perk them up, believe it or not. All right. And all right, next time. Oh, that also. So, I studied that, and I think teaching is communication. All right. And that's the problem with the colleges and universities today. They just assume one thing. They want you to have PhDs. That's it. All right. And they assume that everyone who's a PhD can teach. That is far from a good assumption, because usually the people who are PhDs, they are usually good at one thing of the two. They're either good at research or, all right, they're good at teaching. Most of them are not good at teaching, all right, because they can't communicate. So their best thing is to do research. So all these universities that have research, that's really the big factor that determines whether they'll give you tenure or not. All right. They assume everyone can teach. So if you have good evaluations, no. But I started the course. I started with 14 students in a location. All right. And let me tell you, when that happened that night, I thought I had died and gone to heaven. 14 people. All right. And then there was one person there from Ernst and Winnie, which is now Ernst and Young. All right. And that guy, he passed the exam. He loved it. He went back to the DC office of Ernst and Winnie. All right. And next time, all right, there were 45 people and all the other people were referred. All right. And it kept growing and growing and growing until eventually I had 150 people in Washington, DC. And I started a location in Virginia and 150, I think it was 180. I'm sorry. So I had 180 each location. And no matter how many I had, no one ever felt that I was teaching to 180 people. I always made sure that you felt that, all right, I was teaching to you and only you. And I am proud to say that we grew. And then Becker tried to come into town and they couldn't make it because they were not live. They could tell you they were live, they were not live. And when you compare a course like Becker, which is not live, okay, to a live person who can teach, and I taught everything but one subject. I didn't teach the auditing, all right? I had a partner and he taught auditing at one of the universities, all right? And he was not a good communicator. I didn't know that. I didn't sit in on his classes in auditing. And I'll never forget the night that I came in and the student comes up and he says, Phil, I really like you. But that guy, all right, can you get rid of him? He's a terrible teacher for auditing. I can't get rid of him. He was my partner. Okay. Eventually we did break up, by the way. But to this date, I still believe the same thing. Teaching is explaining concepts to people so that they understand it. Because if you understand the concepts, no matter how they give it to you, you should be able to answer it. Okay. I don't believe in memorization, and neither does the AICPA. Also, I don't believe you're doing thousands of multiple choice questions. Neither does the AICPA. The AICPA believes this: if you understand the concepts and you know the tasks of the blueprints, you should be able to pass no matter what. Should be able to do the multiple choice as well as the large task-based simulations. And that's what I continue to do. And I continue to take calls. I've always done this 7 days a week. All right. You can call me. I have a calendar now. All right. You put your name down on the calendar. All right. And the appointment is there. It could be a half hour, an hour, depending on how much you need. But because I'm not teaching live anymore in a classroom, it's, what do you call it? Streaming video, okay? The only way I can make up for the contact I used to have was I answer questions. And I still take the call 7 days a week, all right? And Ron Premuroso, Ron, who introduced me, who teaches auditing, BEC, and some of the financial, all right? Ron also, he really keeps up with the students. He, initially they call him, he calls them back, and he emails with them all the time. How you doing? Giving them constant, motivation. You got to give motivation. All right. To me, the motivation is this. Ask yourself, why are you taking the CPA exam? All right. If you say to me, I want that certificate on my wall, I would say to you, go and get some wallpaper. All right. Don't get the CPA. All right. I would also say, ask yourself, why are you doing this? And if you say to yourself, all right, I'm doing this so I can make myself more marketable. All right. And if I want to leave my company, I won't have any problems getting another one. Well, now the job market is such that it's easy to get a job. But the thing is, I still believe you should take the CPA exam, even though the number of people has dropped. Okay. And here it is, a person who didn't want to major in accounting. All right. Who I took the CPA exam. Why? Because I wanted to show I was more marketable in teaching. I started my own CPA practice, tax preparation. I did financial planning. I got a CFP, all right? And I got to do all these different things. And I kept teaching CPA review. So the CPA certificate did what I tell everyone it should do. It gave me a better life, and it gave me more options and made my life a lot easier. And as a result of that, I think the CPA is so important. And I think the other certifications, all right, CMA, CIA, whatever it is, hey, they may be great, but I don't believe they carry the prestige, all right, that the CPA designation is. Yet the number of people are dropping off. Big mistake, all right? Hey, maybe today you graduate with an accounting degree, all right, versus an IT, all right? Your starting salary in information technology will be higher. It will, but in future years, that will change. In fact, should there be a bad economy, all right, those IT people probably will get laid off, all right? But they always need CPAs. And now you have different areas you can go into, all right? Yeah, you can do auditing, which I never liked, by the way, all right? You can do financial planning. You can do tax planning. I can't, consulting, that's a big area now. All right. So you don't have to stay and do debits and credits. In fact, you don't do debits and credits. All right. That's a bookkeeper. All right. We are not bookkeepers. We're professionals. In fact, we are in the top 3 of the most trusted professions. All right. And then you have used car salesman, probably at the bottom. All right. I'm proud to call myself a CPA. All right. And when people say that, they look at me and say, you passed the hardest professional exam. You must really know your accounting. Well, whether that's true or not, that the CPA made me a better accountant. All right. Other people believe that. And if other people believe it, that's great. I believe it too. But, it's more important that who you market yourself to has to believe that a CPA has a tremendous credential. So that's why, all right, I started the review course. Is that what we were talking about? I forgot what we were talking about, Ron.
Oh, yeah. What's, the basis for starting the review course
All
is
right.
the purpose
And
of this.
also, I did it because I didn't know that back then, but Ron gets this and I get it. People stop me. And I just saw someone the other day who took the course 30 years ago when it was live. And they said, Phil Yaeger. I said, yeah. I said, I don't know you. He said, well, I took your course 30 years ago. And he says, I want you to know. He says, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have the CPA firm that I now have. And thank you. I mean, now that says a lot. If someone still can remember you and know your name, you have made a difference in their life. And God, that feels so good. And I never take it for granted. Okay? So I promise you, you take our course, I will do the same thing I did 40 years ago. All right. I will still try my best, explain the concepts, and I want you to pass the exam so that the CPA will make a difference in your life. All right. Don't put it off forever. In fact, don't say I don't need the CPA. All right. Hey, no matter what other area you go into, the CPA does look good on a resume. Ron, I'm going to take it back to you.
So Phil, thank you. And like Phil said, you know, the CPA firm that he has established, right, has a great reputation. We want you to pass.
It's a
The only thing
CPA review school, not a
yeah,
CPA firm. Ron.
school. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, Phil, when people pass, we lose them. Okay. But we're also very proud of you. So please study hard, make the effort. Believe me, it's worth it, no matter how many times you might fail, you know, as you're taking the exam. And we have a special pep talk coming up on what to do when you unfortunately may not pass the exam as you go along. But Yaeger CPA Review, we are here to help you. Have a good day, everybody, and take care of yourselves.
Good luck. Keep studying.